Days of the state of Utah state endorsed digital identity. And then we also had carry technical tracks for 2 days, and then a day of basically reviewing everything in action and or what inaction will entail. So we look forward to jumping into it and going through the details there. We will start with a prayer, and then we'll go ahead after the details of this week's report out. It'll be general Q&A. We're grateful for all those that are online, as well as some of those that may be new to this environment. This is streamed live and it will be recorded. So everything that happens here is completely transparent for the world to see. It's not filtered, it's not edited, but you'll want to take in, for those that are new, you want to know that you may have some privacy realities there, as that's the basis for what this digital world is all about, is to provide people with choice. We will get started today recognizing the spiritual layer of what brings us all together as we digitally connect from around the world, but we're physical in our own realms. Those three different layers are key to recognize, especially as this work continues to be developed, not just for our generation, but for future generations. So, John, would you offer us a word of prayer and recognition?
Sure.
Thank you so much.
Our dear Heavenly Father, we are grateful for this opportunity to gather together as citizens of Earth and residents, and we're grateful for all the blessings Thou hast poured out upon us, for the blessings of freedom and for organized government and organized systems to help us organize our lives and add clarity. We're grateful for the efforts that have been put forth thus far for establishing the digital world and for the purpose of keeping people free and not enslaving them into a digital ball and chain. We're grateful for all Thou hast done to prepare and to continue to move forward this effort, and ask for Thy Spirit to be with us, that we'll be able to be inspired on what to focus on and what there might be things we might be missing, and say these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Thanks, John. Grateful for those co-hosts that are always with us. As a reminder, this is not a support environment, but they are here if you need it. This is a private membership association. Some of the things we'll discuss may be forward-looking topics. Some of the things that we focus on, at least the core and the basis of why we're here, is we believe that over generations of time, there have been secret combinations that have basically worked together to collude in such a way where they take away rights and choices of others. Now, some folks may just look at that and think that's okay. And in this ecosystem, we believe that standing up a couple different code bases within the digital world, bringing people together with technology that allows them to have a voice and to vote and to be able to stand up for what they believe is true. And that perception and reality may be different for other people. There is no right or wrong there, but perception is reality for each individual. And to be able to offer them the opportunity to be able to choose is really what the digital world is about. We recognize that there are systems that we may not be able to directly control, but indirectly, we can actually take accountability for our own lives through choices and be able to intelligently organize our lives. Now, we're going to talk a little bit about a Life app. That Life app works in different jurisdictions, but it's all within the digital world as far as rights and abilities for people to select and say, I want to be a part of this digital world, but I may do so in a particular region. Maybe it's Utah, maybe it's India, maybe it's Saudi, maybe the laws that are within those regions are very different. But the ability for us to have a standard in how we connect globally is very key. And that's one of the voids that the digital world actually fills. Decentralization is the way that it is enabled through multiple layers. We'll talk about those layers as it starts with identity, connects to finance, storage, communication, as well as assets, endorsement, governance, and then services that service providers can layer on top of that. It's really finding the balance between governance and government, or centralization and being centralized. One of the big things that's happened within this last week, not only has the state of Utah basically come out with state endorsed digital identity, which is actually this document here. There's actually a final one since this. But I'm going to go ahead and read some pieces of this state endorsed digital identity, which is SB 275, which actually passed within the House and within the Senate with only one conflict out of 95 votes that were positive, and one individual actually had a concern. I'm going to walk you through who this individual is because I had the opportunity to meet her, and she's absolutely amazing. Her name is Leah, and she works within the House, if I remember right. No, she was actually on one of the councils of approving it, I want to say, in the House. But to make a long story short, we were just met on a break, literally at a table. I just stood up and said, Kia ora. I didn't know if she was New Zealand or not. I felt, a connection there. And it turns out that she absolutely not only what is very integral to this work, but she's actually the only one that questioned it and actually came to this event and was learning on her own to learn what it was. I believe that in the future, we will get to have the opportunity, this body, to meet her and to spend a lot of time with her, primarily because she questioned things. She did not just say, we're going to go along with this. She was actually engaging in the conversations, understanding what it was about. And then she took the time to actually dig in and understand, what is a life app? How does it work? How do I log in? How do I move around? How does it not track and surveil me or profile me? And that is the core of what this SB 275 does. On row, I guess it'd be 1067, an individual has the right to be free from surveillance, profiling, tracking, or persistent monitoring of the individual's assertions or digital identity by the state. That's huge. They can go on and say, hey, if someone's doing something wrong, criminal, they can go ahead and get what's called a search warrant or that similar to be able to then track and surveil them. And when they're using these types of technologies in the digital world, which are cryptographic proofs and then cryptographic systems on top of them, we call them derived keys, it basically can prove that they're directly responsible or in the line of certain types of actions. So criminals won't want to use this system, but humanity will, especially when they want to prove, this was me. I created a business. I created some assets. These are my assets. This is how I want my estate managed. These are licenses and registrations and permits, et cetera, et cetera. There's tons of different use cases. This is my reputation. This is how I use it. So the point is this is very key, because what this effectively is doing is it is enabling the individual to have a decentralized identity that is separate from the state, that is not owned by the state, that is owned by the individual, that is not controlled by the state. And the state can't even see when it's being used, but the state can basically endorse the individual and prove that they are who they are, following the processes of government, et cetera. The next thing that's really important is over the next, well, I guess it's about 11 months now, there'll be specific departments and agencies that will work together to actually bring this state-endorsed digital identity with an acceptance and verification process that actually works for the state. It's going to start with the alcohol and beverage services, so the Department of Alcohol Beverages Services, the Driver's License Division, the Department of Health and Human Services, as well as other medical environments we'll talk about, the State Board of Education, which is massive, and then local law enforcement agencies. They will all basically work together to bring these new systems, as well as for like restaurants and bars and mortgage and title and manufacturing, all these different organizations. Here's some of the ones that I was just talking about, to safeguard the individual's identity. So this is exactly what we've been talking about within the digital world. And now you've got the state of Utah, that has basically endorsed this. We're going to go ahead and walk through a quick review. And Andy, for staying up, you actually get to see this thing start when you landed. So we're going to walk through basically each day. We recorded some memories, and you'll be able to see the week as we went through it live. Again, this is the state of Utah, the first state in the United States and world to be able to stand up with a human rights, a Bill of Rights for the human, the individual, that is actually built on the Constitution of the United States and the Bill of Rights within the United States that extends within these digital realms. Specifically, how does an individual actually own their own identity and bring it to the world? We're going to walk through this last week and how it kind of linked up. First, we looked at Clear, whole conversation there. For those of you that know us, you understand an agenda. For those of you that don't, we'll just move past it. Andy actually got a good ride. For those that haven't seen the Tesla, we basically got to drive around. And I have to say that, Andy, the Tesla drives better than you and me. And after watching you drive, I'm going to be much more cognizant around how I either drive or get a vehicle like this. Because my wife has always told me that she just stresses out when she drives with me. I'm either going to, because I'm always on my phone or doing something I shouldn't be doing, but I'm going to be more cognizant of that. So yeah, this is the better half here. Fun, wonderful photos. This is actually one of my favorites, which is Andy at the state of Utah, the Capitol. This is a special part of the world for me as an individual, especially this building. Yeah, brand new building, built on some fun stuff, different conversation. Andy, I hope you're on and you're able to see these fun memories. This is actually Park City. Andy's seeing his way around.
For those that are tear in my eye, Mike.
You're lying. So this is basically a gentleman that has come from around the world, New Zealand. He literally just landed in New Zealand again for after, I don't know, a two-week jaunt, probably even a little bit longer, to see what this is all about and hopefully connect up New Zealand or Aotearoa with the laws that are happening here in Utah. This is a birthday of a wonderful young man who has a story, which most of you will find out over the next 3 months. He actually had a birthday. Wonderful, wonderful father that I've had the opportunity to get to meet. We'll learn a little bit more about that environment where some of the action happened. This is an agenda. So this is the state-endorsed digital identity. These are some of the folks that showed up for it from around the world. New friends, new acquaintances, new coworkers. These are some of the things that we learned about, whether we're talking about credentials. We heard from some real people that I truly respect, such as Phil Windley, Sam Smith, and many others. This is actually Chris Bramwell, who is the Chief Privacy Officer for the state of Utah. We had 13 different states at this event. We had 12 at the last one. And this is actually both of the individuals, Kurt Killamore and then Caldwell, that basically put the bill together and pushed it through the House and the Senate. And just some amazing, amazing people, amazing efforts, just a wonderful time, and grateful for the opportunity to just see this in our lifetime. We also had Amelia Gardner, who was actually the first woman to actually get married digitally, and she was involved in this directly and indirectly. Wayne, who I believe will have a key role in all of this. Why? Because he's got an open mind and he actually looks at the technology and cares about the details. I don't think he's got an agenda like some others, but the key is Utah will work its way through working together and being a lighthouse for many other parts of the world. This is actually Amelia. This is Leah over here. This is the CIO of the state of Utah. These are some wonderful people. She's literally been responsible for over 110,000, not 110, 110,000 digital cryptographic marriages right here out of Utah. That is one of 30 services that we've identified, which is a digital marriage. So really good people. Like this guy, solid. Like he was like, you're not going to know that there's an issue unless you get punched in the face. And he's like, we've been punched in the face, but we just don't realize it. So the gentleman that just said the prayer right here, John, wonderful, wonderful human being there. You can sell it by, and this is another gentleman here. I thought these socks were super funny. What else? We did it right in the backyard of Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid over at Sundance. Some wonderful memories, good people, good culture, good environment. It will come together as we continue to do this. This is one thing that's super important: the segregation of the digital world, the Life app, and then the Clear companies and how they basically serve states and cities to roll out the systems. The systems are separate from the state, but they have to represent the individual that the state can actually connect to. So how all of this basically comes together is what we reviewed during at least our portion of it. We also connected into some other opportunities that we've already started working on a different angle. And we'll talk about these in the future as well. Super cool video. This is Utah, and some amazing people that came to visit, and we're grateful for them traveling around the world. I don't know if you can hear that. But... So this is Leah, this is Amelia, this is Wallace, and we'll spend some time talking about her, kind of the team. This is one of 3 locations that we're building out here in Utah. For some of you that have seen what we're doing within private communities, this is probably the most high-end community, but affordable community. So we'll talk a little bit more about this. It's actually still being built. Danielle, you would want to pay attention to this one because it's very well done, and the value here is next to none, second to none, if you ask me. Well, I guess if you go over to Thailand or something like that, but there's going to be an events thing here. It's a 6-story facility. It's basically what we call the sanctuary. Yeah, so this is the next day. State-endorsed digital identity, critical digital public infrastructure. Digital public infrastructure is what they're calling it, for a free people and a free market. Huge, very important. This is the CTO of the state. Again, this is Wayne with Spruce ID. More agenda. This is go-to-market strategy that we continue to talk a lot about. We'll continue to talk about, but very key in how we actually go and approach things. Some strategic systems that were built while we were here. This is Phil. Some wonderful folks. Good memories. This is actually at the Grand Hyatt. We hope to touch all of these locations every 6 months. So we're talking about the sanctuary cities, we're talking about the Grand Hyatt, we're talking about these different private communities such as High Star Ranch, Gray Star Environment. This is a key meeting that we hope has some fruit to it. We'll talk a little bit more about that once the fruit materializes. Some solid relationships, wonderful friends, wonderful people. You get to do a close-up here on Andy. I don't know, can we hear an audio here, Wally?
Normally these are like your annual highlight, your ski trip.
It was so good to have him here. Let's see.
We can hear it.
And I think it's gonna. You can hear it. You can hear the overlaps.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. This was actually a speech that I gave. You guys all know me. I blab and blab and blab. I do think it's key to really recognize Sam Smith's wife, because I know that there's a massive quiet responsibility behind the scenes that she played in all of this. This is a key environment. We won't go through this right now because that'll have some time. That's a great photo of wonderful John and some ladies that joined us. We'll talk a little bit about that.
It's the new.
Yeah. So we took a helicopter ride and actually went to 3 or 4 different waypoints. And we hope to do that every 6 months as well, so people can actually see it from a different perspective, a different view. This is actually one facility that we hope to be able to have more dialogue about, very key and strategic. This is another facility. This is actually Utah City. This is a start of it. It goes way back over here as well. This is a 700-acre planned community, and the goal is to be able to enable it to be private. Notice how the streets are very narrow. It's built to be this urban environment where you actually work, live, and study and share life together. This goes out into a park, which they had the grand opening this last week, and then there's a beautiful lake on the other side of it. You can kind of see where that lake's at. That's Utah Lake in the center of Utah in Utah County. This is actually Micron and IM Flash. So for those that are not aware, Utah has been building memory wafers and memory for systems for a very long time, well over 20 years. I was actually part of the original groundbreaking of this facility, and they're building a brand new one, which we'll talk a little bit about. This is actually the sanctuary. This is what I was telling you about before. Brand new. There's actually a working environment here, living environments here, and then it ties into, the goal is to tie it into a private-based ecosystem, which there's a lot of work that has to happen because we're talking about locks and payments and verifications, but that's one of them that we're looking at. We're grateful for a couple of the folks that actually opened up their world and gave us opportunities that we couldn't even have, not around riding these little guys. But there is a story about these guys. Once we get there, we'll kind of talk about that. But how do you go on these different quests and adventures and move around in environments that are actually unique? This took 3 years to make. Imagine a hunt that we can actually do different things and activities, but we engage in the physical and digital connection like humanity's never seen it before. So this is actually the plane or the helicopter we had the opportunity to kind of tour around Utah on. Grateful for the pilot and the owners and just the folks that actually can see the vision. These individuals actually see the value of what is being done, how it's coming together, and willing to open up their lives and in many ways their time, which is very valuable, and then their assets, which is very valuable. Not that it's valuable for any more valuable than others, but they're willing to see it and actually be a part of a solution for many. So grateful for that. This was a fun memory for those that are on that were actually involved in it. When the folks that are on this call come out, that if you didn't come out and we will actually have key events. So I don't think you missed a ton, but you're going to be able to actually experience a lot of the things that we talked about during this event. You'll actually experience it during the next event. So it was very important that we actually did somewhat of a dry run and standing up these systems. I would still call it the first inaugural one, but so the Life Summit, as we know it, will always shift, modify around. I know some of this stuff might look like you're in Disneyland or, some different type of world, and it is. And I look forward to you kind of being able to experience it. And we'll talk a little bit about, what it is. I hope to have this is like a little DJ environment. I hope to have some dances, and this actually reads different things. And it's just a very neat environment to be able to learn and to grow. This is Sundance. So some of us came together on a day after it was all over. And even the first day we actually touched elements, but basically seeing how rewards and systems and check-ins and life can actually come together with the physical and the digital, linking, kind of overlapping in a way that humanity hasn't seen it happen before. So, so let's see what else we can review. At Sundance, helicopter, amazing times, amazing people. Utah, as an example, it's not that Utah's any better than the rest of the world. I just think it's probably a little bit more organized so it can actually be an example where other parts of the world can come in and see these systems actually deploy, not just in a physical way, but in an organized way where we're all working together. And I know that may sound weird, but there's a lot of keys to that. So with that being said, we did have a chance to go up to the ranch, meet some of the horsies and hike around and play with some weapons and go golfing and just kind of see the world. So grateful for those that turned out, and for those that are just supporting from afar, maybe paying attention as the journey continues to unfold. And for those that have dedicated their time and maybe even their lives to helping this work to become a reality. I know it's just one step, one day, 1 week at a time, but So that being said, any thoughts, comments, feedback, questions, observations?
So, Michael, I think before the summit, you had said that people would be able to experience going shopping and I think you paying with the gold backs, the digital gold backs, et cetera, et cetera. So was that up and running? Were people able to experience that?
We touched on a couple of different vendors, and that was during the part when we were riding around on these little guys here. So this is actually in a full-blown mall, has 152 different shops, and we're currently working through the ability for each one of those shops to actually be able to pay their lease within DUSD. And so we did go into a couple shops. Andy actually purchased a shirt from one of them. That's a local shop. And the goal is to be able to hop in on these little guys and ride around to them. This is actually also a part of that same environment which will actually be a quest that will be inside of it, similar type things as shopping, but there'll be different waypoints. So, make sense?
Yeah, sure, that makes sense.
So other thoughts or comments or feedback, or if you were participated in it, any observations or feelings or things you were experiencing while you were here?
Hey, Michael, I'm just curious, are there actual people living in that facility now? And are we able to get pricing on facilities down the road?
Yeah, so what you're asking about is the Sanctuary City, and that has we're getting some feedback. It's got 519 apartments, and there's 23 of them that are currently being lived in. And there's also over 400 additional locations that kind of tie to this, which is a different conversation. Pricing range for single rooms, $1,800 and up a month. And then for double rooms, it's about $3,000 to $4,000 and up.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Next question, thought, comment, observation.
Yeah, as somebody who was able to participate in most of the events, having seen the Serenity, the living quarters, and hearing about it, talking about it, and seeing it was a totally different experience. And I think seeing it come to life the way it has is really an amazing thing. And I think that just everything that was talked about at the SETI and CARI conferences, respectively, it really positions Clear Holdings and every effort that has been put forth to date in the forefront. And I think that I was amazed to see how many congressmen, how many government officials approached Michael and wanted to know, learn, be a part of it, incorporate Clear in the company, in their respective states. So I just think this is just scratching the surface. And while it was the inaugural kickoff, I think there's only bigger and better things to come, in the future, in October and going forward. It was a great experience from a personal standpoint.
Yeah, I totally agree. Totally agree. There's some real key things I wished you in particular would have been exposed to, because I know, and I know that you can feel it and sense it, and through some of the photos. But I look forward to building this together and with you.
Same.
I'm grateful for
Yeah,
that
no,
opportunity. So, yeah.
And just one question: was there anybody on the shooting range that you guys were shooting at, or was it just targets?
We actually had a vest up, and we were testing to see if it was bulletproof or not. But it was actually up on a stick and a sign, and yeah. So
right.
I'll let Andy talk about that. But yeah, no, it was fun times. Next time we plan on having this thing where you basically get 10 people with shotguns for those that are not afraid of weapons. And because Andy, over in New Zealand, you just don't get access to them the same way that you do. But basically you have a skeet that goes out and one person shoots it. If they miss, the next person can shoot it, and then the first person's out. So it creates this team building kind of fun environment around shooting. So yeah. But the point being is, it's not just fun and games, but being able to recreate and build relationships and seeing the systems actually rolling out where humanity actually can use them and be a part of our lives and be a natural just integration into life. I personally have been to Vanuatu and Fiji and India, and I've watched some of these similar systems. I'll try and give you an example of what I'm talking about in particular. So I've watched systems similar to this, where you just roll up on a register and say, I'm ready to check out. And the next thing you know is they say, hey, are you paying with a credit card or with a check or with cash or, with a different medium? And in some cases, it's if you're paying with a debit card, we charge you this fee. If you're paying with a credit card, we charge you this fee. But we believe that there's going to be a combination of today's system is completely public, no private element to it. It costs funds, so 2.5 to 3.5%, depending on what credit card you're making or using. And then it really doesn't have an ability for that merchant to connect with the consumer directly, whether it's offering benefits or features or functions or even market to them and paying them directly. But at the same time, the contrast is something that's private, something that's very inexpensive to transact. It's paid in real time where the other system's not. And then you actually have the rewards and the communication built in. You also have the recourse to say, hey, within 30 days, they're a part of a normal return policy that if you want a refund, you can go ahead and get it. And then there's a dispute process that can also happen on both sides. And, it's following governance within the digital world that humanity is basically selected and choose to be a part of. And then you have artificial intelligence, or future of artificial intelligence is actually a type of mediator through that. So it's a different experience than what you would experience within the United States of America. And we're learning from pieces of what's happened around the world, but using technology that I believe will be the future. So, yeah. Other thoughts or observations or comments or feedback or, even.
Yeah, I have a question.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Let's say I have a cosmetic company and I sell products and I give courses and I have a podcast, whatever. And let's say I come across the digital world.
Mm-hmm.
And is it possible? Okay, I hope I'm asking this properly. Is it possible that you could layer, or I don't know what the right terminology is, but is it possible that you could layer your technology in my company but where people would have the choice to either deal with the company in a decentralized way or like have the choice whether they want to be decentralized or not? Is that possible? Could a company have both options?
Yeah. So within this environment, you can currently use the normal checkout process, which is Visa, MasterCard, American Express, Discover, debit card, etc. Or
Okay.
they could use a process like this, which includes all of those and has the ability for an individual to, let's say, check out at a convenience store and buy, a case of cigarettes and a case of beer, which I personally don't recommend they do. But if they, instead of going through and getting, identified with a photo of a front and back driver's license, which I believe puts the merchant in liabilities harmed way, they can literally click on this, verify their age, make a payment, earn rewards, directly communicate with the end user or with the merchant. Here's an example of, we'll go ahead. I'm actually using the Life app desktop side of it. We're going to go ahead and click into the University Mall. We've got 2 stores here, which is actually where we went within this venture. And here you can say, I want to actually connect in with them. Maybe I want to start a video call, or maybe I want to do something with maybe photos or voice messages, or I want to send a promo. You can literally link in, and then you can invite other people to be a part of it too. So there's going to be a world where the individual, and I'm going to jump into a good example of agents. So imagine that we have this new agents, and this is a combination of multiple agents. So Life Concierge, this basically works on, let's say that you want to pass your assets to the next generation or to a certain will that you want to have happen. We won't talk about email or domains right now, but let's say that you want to actually go on a quest, or you wake up one Saturday and it's like, okay, what's going on around me? You could actually get a message, and your quest hunt, so you could get a message through a system like this that is directly targeted to you, instead of using ads that would go through Facebook or Google and divulge who you are and let them basically throw ads at you and you don't get paid. It basically can do all of it at the same time. And then you have AI that is actually tracking to that. So very valuable, very important. Literally, imagine an agent is basically working on your behalf. Why? Because they actually have data access to your data that you provide, whether it's contacts or mail or calendar. This is your private data, and you're inviting an agent into your life that is your agent. It's not third party. It's not the way that artificial intelligence is currently managed, if that makes sense. Does that make sense?
So it would be kind of like my personal assistant type of thing.
Yeah, that's a really good way to look at it. Yep. And
Okay, so I'm just trying to wrap my head around this. So let's just say I'm cosmetic company ABC, and I want to give people the choice of whether they want to interact with me centralized or decentralized. So would I have, let's say, like, would my company have an app called ABC Life, and the people that would want to interact with me in a decentralized manner, they would download the app, and then whatever they did in my company would be private?
there's two ways to answer that and two ways to do it. This is, let's call this ABC, even though it's AL, right? So this is actually a place that is in a space. So you've got the University Mall, and then inside the University Mall, you have Al's, which is a store. And then you've also got this profile. So notice this image and this name. This is actually a dynamically derived key created profile for communication for this individual. So you can kind of drill into it. You can see, they're online. They're actually using the jurisdiction of the Digital World host with the Utah environment. So if you really, I don't know if you can see this, but you can see that this is my identity, and I'm in a decentralized communication platform within this realm of Utah. So I'm connected to, it originated with the Utah Life app. So that's a part of your question. So usually a region, the jurisdiction's the digital world. The region in this particular case is Utah. And then you have the ability to even move that. So I could literally, if I wanted to configure my space, I could actually move out of Utah into a different jurisdiction communication-wise. So that may be more information than you're asking. But ultimately, your cosmetic ABC store would just have a profile within a space or a place. That would be the normal way to do it. Now, we could argue and say, hey, when we kind of look at this place here, this is actually Maverick. This is, in my opinion, decentralized fuel. They pump oil out of the earth. They ship oil to refineries. They refine oil to gasoline. They ship gasoline to the actual gas stations, which they own over 400 of them in all these different states. And in Utah is actually where they own most of them. So you'll see 168 gas stations in Utah. Colorado is the next biggest at 116, and Idaho at 74. So imagine if they actually had a Maverick app that had reward points, that had the identity system, they had the ability to actually not only do payments and remove the 2.5%, but they could actually directly market to their customers. And so they would have a page just like this, just like Al's or like Gap's, and they would be able to have an app. Now, anybody can create an app in the future. It'll be all open, so anybody can create it. And as a matter of fact, during the week that we were here, we wrapped up the Indian Life. We wrapped up Kraken Life. We wrapped up Ledger Life. We wrapped up 50T Life. We wrapped up, there was one other one that I'm forgetting.
Kraken Life?
I can't go into the details there, but we wrapped up London Life. So London Life was one of the other ones that we did. So imagine, there'll be more conversations around that when it's not the right time to have it now. But so the answer to your question could be both. And at a minimum, it would be within this communication platform where they're getting a space or a place.
So, but do they have to have a physical location?
No, they just have to have a digital location. Everything in the digital world just operates off of a digital location.
Okay, so in effect, you could decentralize just about any business, but inside that business, their customer base would have the option of going centralized or decentralized. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. And I would even go further to say, if it's like Maverick, where they've got 400 plus locations, it probably makes sense for them to actually have a Life app built for their use case. So they're going to be one of the focal points where they're saying, hey, you want to buy a beer? I'll give you an example. In the state of Utah, if someone comes in, let's say it's a 16-year-old that comes in, or let's say, I don't really know a lot of this stuff because I just don't drink alcohol or smoke cigarettes. But let's say that the law is, and I don't know if this is true, let's say you have to be 21 to drink alcohol, and someone that is 20 years old has an ID that says he or she is 22. Now, if the clerk actually gives them alcohol and it's figured out that they were using a fake ID, whether it's fake or not, that individual who makes, $15 an hour just got like $100,000. I don't know the right number. Can somebody help me with it? They got a massive
$1,500.
$1,500. Okay. So 1,500. So if they're making $15 an hour and they get whacked with a $1,500 fine, which is actually realistic, they could have that garnished and paid. That's kind of ding one. Ding two is, if I remember right, they actually have potential jail time. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct.
So these are compelling events that not only does it hurt the store clerk, but it also hurts the store. If the store goes and sets up a system like what I'm showing you here, where they can actually say, hey, if you want to actually buy your booze and whatever else, just scan this thing. You click on a button that says verify your age. It automatically then pops up positive. You show the person at the desk, and everybody is get out of jail free card. The store, the individual, the agent behind the desk, everybody is all scot-free off. Why? The state of Utah will actually protect them from if they use these types of processes. At least that's, we're still building this stuff. That's what I understand could be the use case that ties to it. So with that being the case, it would be a compelling event for Maverick to actually have not only their own rewards, but their own app as well. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes total sense. So you would build you would give them or give them the license to have a Life app, whatever, like let's say the business is ABC Cosmetics. So ABC Cosmetics could have the ABC Life app that they could offer their customers?
They could. And that's where Clear Software comes into play, where they build these secure systems. On one hand, long term, these systems and software will absolutely be open source, and any Tom, Dick, or Harry could go and build a Life app, whether it's the back end app like what you're seeing here, or the actual front end app like what you're seeing here. By the way, remind me to show you the early mock-up of the Apple version with the communication platform built into it. I saw it for the first time a couple hours ago. So basically this app backend, so this is an app you would pull down at the different, Amazon, or excuse me, Apple and Google and Clear stores online, digital goes on your device. And then this is actually what you log in to manage more in depth, if you're managing an estate and real transactions, those types of things.
Michael, this is so exciting. Is this available now?
Yeah, here
I'll
actually show you. So the Android version of it is, the Apple version of it is right here. So this was actually, I saw this earlier today. I'll see if I can zoom in on this.
That's Apple?
This is Apple.
Oh my God.
So
and what app is that?
This is the Life app. This is actually the Utah Life app on the Apple platform. So you've got life, identity, communication, asset, property, business. And then it scrolled down here before. Let me go back to it. So you have a couple more. The endorsements are what's going to be coming with the state of Utah. Community, which you already know what that's all about. Maybe some of our old listeners are new, don't, but so I'll go ahead and just play the rest of this. So you click on.
Is this live? This is live now?
Yeah, well, this is actually currently coming out of development. So what you're seeing here is, So basically, this is the Apple version of the communication app that ties into the desktop version, which is what I'm showing you here. So this is an app on the desktop. So I'm showing it to you here. You've got spaces and places, and you can do everything from group calls, or and this is going to be crazy, and this is what's going to set this absolutely apart from other systems. You can actually have in each space or place your own private AI in your rooms or in shared rooms. Do you understand how that is so huge? I'll say that again. Imagine a digital space or place that is unique to you based upon how you travel around this amazing earth that we get to live on. When you go to a vendor, you can connect a connection there, and they can market to you and pay you directly, whether it's rewards that you can convert into other things that turn out to, I'm talking about real value, not, it's kind of like, it's massive, isn't it? Yeah.
When is this ready?
Well, the Android version and Clear Element, I'll just say the Android version is right here. So I know you probably can't see my phone very well, but this is actually production based, and I've been testing this for about 6 weeks now. So that's actually the Android version of it. This particular version, Utah Life. It's got the communications element built into it. That's actually the other side of this. As a matter of fact, I'll go ahead and jump into this gap, and I will put a smiley face in here and push send. And notice down here, you can actually see that smiley face went into it.
Oh my
Okay.
God. Oh my God.
So this is on Android, and then this is actually the next versions of Clear phones, which is a whole nother beautiful thing we hope to talk about. So you've got phones, 3 different types: Clear, Apple, and Android. And then you've got desktop versions as well as web versions, and they all interact the same way. Just like I just put a smiley face there, you can then do video calls. Like I see a future where this video call, which is here, will actually be done not on this system, but it will be done within this Life system. I see that within the next 90 days.
Oh my
It's moving fast. And so you'll see it's a desktop app, but you'll also see that it's something that if we pull open this example here, which I went to, let's see here, where'd it go? Right here. This is actually, and I'll go ahead and just let it play. There's no noise to it. So you got the different apps. This is the communication system. Again, this is on Apple. This is a space. This is the payment system. And you can swap as well within those payment systems. I don't know if you saw that, but that's an advanced feature based upon what we've already done in the past. This is a test chat with videos and photos. This is a decentralized identity that is paid or created dynamically. So you need to use usernames and passwords. You download the Life app and it automatically links you into communications in a cryptographically secured way. You can also create multiple different profiles that will tie to it. Maybe you've got a business profile. Maybe you've got a personal profile. Maybe you've got whatever else. So, yeah.
So if all the Life apps that we have on our phones currently, will they update automatically when this is?
Yeah. That's actually what we're stuck on. There's some unique things that's going on, particularly with Apple and Android, that we have to go through a legal process. This isn't a technical issue. This is a legal issue that we're fighting right now with these 2 channels to basically enable people to own their own identity. Go figure. They don't want people, and I won't even go into the details on live systems, but yeah.
Wow. Well, thank you so much. That was really helpful.
You're very welcome. I wish you were here, to be honest with you. I think you would have really enjoyed it, but I know that the next one that we have will absolutely be worth your time. So next thought, comment, conversation, topic, criticism, anything?
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, go for it.
Excellent. Okay, question. Andrew from Vancouver, Canada here. And I'm looking at this wondering if pre-existing companies can migrate over, whether they have, let's say, e-commerce. You have the cosmetic shop. If there's an already existing cosmetic shop, ABC, and they're already set up, how quickly could they basically go from let's say, their centralized system over here with a new website, new payment systems, even, customer base if they're on subscriptions, and just join this ecosystem and leave that behind and take their audience, their customers with them.
Our goal is to do it in such a way where they could literally follow a process and within hours have all of it set up, including the front end site, the back end apps. There's an approval process that's more lengthy with that. So I'd say that's kind of a step 2, but also the rewards. So the actual front end site and the rewards to be able to be set up within hours. It needs to literally be that simple, that smooth. We've also tested out some things where we're using AI to basically use digital world payments and identity to launch a new type of website instead of using Shopify. So it would look and feel like a Shopify mature system and site, but it's actually doing it in such a way where it's not. It's open. It's completely open. You don't have to pay the monthly fee for it like you do with Shopify, etc. But you don't have to use their payment gateways either. So,
right. So when it comes to you have WooCommerce's lots of different plugins to be able to go build one. You'll have plugins either from, let's say, those pre-existing more centralized systems, or will those be tech partners, or just something to replace them?
I'll be transparent. It's not. WooCommerce is a really good engine and a very good alternative to Shopify if you're looking for open code. But what we're actually doing is we're working with an organization called Medusa that actually has the ability to do what WooCommerce and Shopify does all in one integrated system tied to AI using payments and identity from the digital world, all in one simple code base. So it's the future of WooCommerce and Shopify. Does that make sense?
Understood. So for that answered it. Fantastic. So separate from e-commerce and let's say B2C environments, if you have digital companies or companies that have a brick and mortar, say a farm in Latin America that's cultivating peppers, and they need trade finance solutions in order to sell their peppers to another SME, let's say in the United States or Canada. So does this platform, there's going to be the ability for them to do PO financing, for instance, from inside the ecosystem?
Yeah, you are absolutely brilliant. And by the way, we're just grateful that you're here, and welcome. You totally are. By your questions, I can tell you're an absolute fellow traveler. So imagine, and we're currently working on this, it's not done, but we're in the process. Imagine in the digital world where you can actually, as a matter of fact, I can probably show you a mock-up of this. So see this agreement? So imagine if you actually have an agreement where you can actually enter in with party A and party B, okay? And notice how this says open in Lumen. So this is actually a partner company that is like Adobe Sign or DocuSign, where you can have party A and party B that sign into an agreement, and the digital world is a jurisdiction that they're signing into, and maybe the secondary locations where each party physically resides if there needs to be tertiary legal consequences or a follow-up. But basically, you can tie it to a smart contract that says party A says that they're going to give this if party B pays this, and it's paying from party B's wallet to party A's wallet. So the agreement doesn't even need to use names. It can literally use cryptographic keys that are derived keys to create these agreements and literally see if they're actually upheld. If they're violated, then you can actually have a reputation process that ties to possibly, and I'll pull up digital world .earth. I'm going
to that's essentially an ingrained or infrastructural zero knowledge proof.
Yes, it's actually, yes, that's exactly, well, it's even better than that. It's a smart contract built on a private or zero knowledge proof, which is a whole nother conversation. Remind me to talk about private and public when we're done with this question. But I'm gonna
Mike, it's 9 o'clock too. Just want to let you know.
Thanks for the heads up. Yeah, we got to bounce. Mark, can you jump into the other meeting and see if it's already starting, and maybe Andy as well, and just let me know.
Yep.
If so, we'll convene here. But I want to wrap up with this because it's a really good question. The digital reputation that's actually tied to the individual's identity can also tie to an accounting package that looks at their cash flows and then ties to the PO side of it. Does that make sense? Go ahead.
Hey, Randy. Hey, Dan.
Okay.
You got to give like a stretch pitch for 40 minutes.
We're going to go ahead and wrap up here, guys, but thank you for your
And then literally,
joining.
they wanted to increase the frequency of the stretch dividend payments. So he basically had the QR code up at the end. He's asking people for their votes. I mean, it was like an IR
So
event almost.
we're going to wrap up.
strategy.
We will see you next week, everyone. Thank you for your time and for your attention and
We
for just being
certainly
here. We'll talk to you later.
felt that
Kia
was
ora.
compelling.